So here are some of my biggest takeaways from the market this week. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky, and here is your super quick, hopefully 5 to 6 minute market update. NASDAQ market, if you zoom out and look at the larger time frame, we ended in the green. From the start of the week to the overall end of the week, we actually made progress. Okay, was the rest of the market like that? No. Chip stocks still seem to be negatively impacted by the South Korean markets. They're lagging behind. And what I mean by that is from where we opened at to where we closed at from the start of the week to the end of the week, kind of not much progress. Again, it didn't sell off, it didn't make new lows, but not much progress. And this kind of seems to be the same case with a lot of these if they didn't aggressively gap down. I mean, this kind of doesn't almost count because Western Digital did report earnings and it was quite significant. So there's a big gap down there. But if we look at Micron was relatively kind of flat from where we started. Actually, it's a little bit elevated from where we started out from Fridays. It was right around 840. To where we closed at 880. So a nice jump up, about $40 per share, but for semiconductor stocks or memory chip stocks, not very impressive. I think that we could all agree with that, right? And it doesn't mean that it can't be impressive. It's just, it wasn't this week. It really does seem like the influence of the South Korean market, the KOSPI index, as it continues to show signs of uncertainty, waving some red flags there. So again, Micron, if you guys didn't see my earlier trade, I made $1,200 on that trade. I fully closed out my position, so no trade on that. And I wanted to update you guys on Palantir. I think when I uploaded my earlier video today on Palantir, I was down about I don't know if I was $1,500 or $1,000. I don't know if it was closer to $1,800, but I ended the day at $244 in the red. So I began scalping it. I saw that it was continuously getting rejected at overbought levels. So instead of just shorting it, I covered my short fully and then bought the rip ups. Same thing, and then just let it rip up, become overbought, shorted it again, and slowly began to chip away from my small loss. My big focus today was position size management. I did not take any aggressive position. With that being said, again, enough about my specific trades. What I really wanted to talk about was my biggest takeaways. Over $550 billion has been added to the U.S. market today as weak job data reduces the odds of the Fed rate hike. Again, if you guys do not remember, a big focus from the start of the week to the middle of the week, really just Wednesday, even the head of the Federal Reserve, Kevin Warsh, said that he might be prepared to raise interest rates if inflation data rises. This was pretty bearish, right? This began to inject some uncertainty in the market. And it all changed today. It was all today, right? That's why markets saw a really nice gap up shortly after the job reports came out because it expected 80,000 jobs to be created, but there was actually 23,000 jobs that were lost. People are speculating that these numbers are rigged, that they're manipulated. I'm not here to report conspiracies, right? You guys know that I'm biased. And you guys know that I have no problems sharing my opinions, but I'm not here to support conspiracies. These are the numbers that were reported. If they get revised later, I'll make sure that I do my part in updating you. And these are the numbers that the markets are reacting to. For those that are a little bit newer, what do you mean that weaker or job losses supported the case of less of a rate hike? Remember, the big focus recently was inflation. Inflation was rising. And as oil prices began to rise again, as the tensions in the Middle East with the Strait of Hormuz being closed, oil went back up to nearly $100 a barrel. Trump announced earlier this week, surprise, surprise, peace deal, yet nothing has been confirmed. This sharply caused oil prices to drop, and then today it was confirmed that U.S. will lift its blockade of Iran ports once shipping is restored. This even helped oil prices drop further. So not just oil prices dropping and the strait possibly being opened, but also there being such a weak labor market. Remember, the Federal Reserve has two main goals. This is the main thing that I want you to understand, right? Two main goals. They have job stability or price stability and a strong labor market. And normally what they do is they raise or cut interest rates, or as they've often done recently, pause, meaning no change. If they raise interest rates as they were expected to because inflation was rising, and that's the way that they can kind of put out the fire of rising inflation, but it slows down the economy. The markets would not like a rate hike, and that's what the markets were kind of scared of, a possible rate hike coming soon as September. Because this job market was so bad and this job report was so bad, if you raise interest rates and the labor market's already weak, you're only going to make it weaker. So it's a double-edged sword. Jerome Powell, who's the previous Federal Reserve, head of the Federal Reserve, made it very clear that it's trying to put out one fire without, adding gas or fuel to the other fire, right? Now, it looks like it really put the Federal Reserve in a pickle. It really does seem that based off of this labor report, that now the markets are saying there's no way that the Federal Reserve can support a rate hike. That is what the markets are pricing in. And not just the stock market, yields, bond yields. This is good, right? 10-year, 30-year, and 2-year. They saw a pretty significant downtick, right? This is good. The U.S. wants lower bond yields. We want lower bond yields in the sense of when we take money out as a mortgage, because the 10-year treasury is a benchmark for how your mortgage rate is calculated, right? The higher the bond yield, the higher the interest rate that your mortgage will likely be. That's why when we were creeping up to 5%, that is why they said, hey, 7% mortgages are right around the corner. As this thing begins to creep back down, then the 10-year treasury, again, a benchmark for mortgages, will now most likely support kind of a mortgage maybe in the sixes, mid sixes and stuff like that. So it does make a difference for everything, right? It does make a difference on how desperate the U.S. government might need to be to intervene, especially with what's going on in Japan. But we can talk about that another time. As of right now, these were my biggest takeaways this week. Bond yields are dropping due to, I would say, less certainty that the Federal Reserve is likely to raise rates and more likely to maybe even cut rates. On top of that, the U.S. will lift its blockade on Iranian ports once shipping is restored. Again, it's a deal or no deal, but I want to report it because it's currently what is being said. This is causing oil prices to drop and is bullish for the rest of the market. And then, of course, what we learned about the labor market, the non-farm payrolls coming in way lower than what was expected. There was job loss instead of job created, which no longer supports the probability of a rate hike, possibly even a rate cut. That is bullish for the market. I do have a pretty interesting video planned for you guys tomorrow, so just another reason to subscribe. I hope that I did a decent job, not only keeping you guys up to date with some of my biggest takeaways of the market, but if you have any questions whatsoever, again, especially if you're a complete beginner, I would love for you to ask me questions in the comment section. I'll do my part in responding to it to the best of my ability and maybe even make a video about it if I find it to be interesting enough. I want to do my part in updating you guys, like I said, not just on my green trades, but also on my red ones. Slight loss on PLTR, but again, I see it as a win because I was able to nicely recover from it. And then $1,200 on Micron. Don't forget, this weekend would be a great time for you to be able to catch up on the lesson library. In my opinion, I think a lot of beginner traders don't have a strategy problem. They have a risk management problem. If you guys haven't checked it out, the second link in the description down below, again, is $2.99 off. Deal 26 is the promo code. And even before you join, even to watch me trade live, you can actually preview a recent live trading session before you join. I want you to see this is a recent live session, exactly what to expect before you actually join. So there's no surprises. One-time payment, lifetime access. We don't do subscriptions. And this is the only service that I offer. Do not fall for fake accounts. They sometimes respond on YouTube pretending to be me with WhatsApp or try to message you on Discord or over email or over Instagram. I promise you, no one that's part of my team or myself will ever go out of our way to message you. I offer one service and it's LPP. It's one-time payment, lifetime access. If you're part of it, great. Other than that, again, I'm here when you're ready to join. I appreciate you guys' time. Hope that we're in a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team. Have a good weekend.